coming for David Robinson, the Admiral. We mentioned his, at times, rather non-emotional farewell tour in the NBA, but went to high school in this area, of course, the Naval Academy as well. And ready to tip it up in smoky conditions here in Washington tonight. We didn't see the redhead anywhere, despite reports.
It's like the old football game, Bears and Niners.
That's right.
Man.
Hughes on the drive and a one-hander. A rebound by Jackson. So we are underway here at the MCI Center.
And I believe that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about right there. If you get a good shot quick in the shot clock, those are the ones you want to take, because you can't, against Duncan and against Robinson, you can't grind it out against this team.
Jackson off glass. Jordan there for the rebound. San Antonio beat the Wizards in their first meeting of the year 10 days ago. A very well-played game on both sides. 92-81 was the final, but they have beaten Washington 6 straight times. So they've had their number. Stackhouse and a fadeaway.
And they're not a team that gets a lot of points in the paint. The way they do it is that way, through penetration, a lot of flash cuts, and sometimes when they get in a rut, they settle for too many outside jump shots.
Christian Laettner tipping that one out of bounds over the head of Duncan. Greg Popovich, the coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He is the all-time leader in coaching victories for the franchise. Of course, he won an NBA title in 98-99.
The break, got to get wide.
There's Hughes, and he was fouled by Jackson, and he'll shoot.
Well, you end up getting wide on that one, but ideally, if you're Jerry Stackhouse, you want to get a little wider on that break, because you want to give him a better option, Larry Hughes. And as a guy, if you have a 2-on-1, the guy handling the ball, you want to make the defender commit to you. If he commits to you, then you pass. If he doesn't commit to you, then you take it all the way. The closer you get, the easier it is for the one defender to guard 2 guys.
Hughes too strong in the first foul shot. Larry Hughes, the Wizards' number 3 scorer, behind Stackhouse and Jordan, which is a little like being the number 3 starter behind Koufax and Drysdale. His numbers last season compared to this. Missed the pair, and Robinson with a rebound.
Who was that number 3 starter, by the way? Fernando Mania? I think that was a laugh at that.
quite a bit, actually. But you got a Dodger. Parker had it stripped. And the outlet for Stackhouse, but too far, and he can't chase it out of bounds. It will be the Wizards basketball just getting started here in the first quarter on this New Year's Eve. And 2-0, the Wizards in front. Coming in with a 13-17 record after last night's loss in Orlando. San Antonio 19-12 overall, and they're in second place in the Midwest.
They just drop kicked that one out of bounds.
Yes.
One of those things where you just say, all right, whatever. Let's go back down and play some defense. Now, this is the ultimate. You see Duncan with the jam there. He called him for an offensive foul pushing off. But this is the ultimate 3 yards in a cloud of dust basketball team right here.
Literally a cloud of dust.
Literally a cloud of dust. They are going to dump it into Duncan virtually every time down the floor. They want to get it to him, and they want to work off him, space off him, make cuts off him, but he's going to be the focal point just about every time down.
Well, so far tonight, San Antonio is looking as Stackhouse has to go in and out from the corner. The Spurs are looking like it's already January 1st, and they're a bit hung over. They've turned it over 3 times in their first 4 possessions from the corner. There's Jackson for 3.
We were talking about him earlier. He's a guy that, to me, kind of came out of nowhere. I know he got drafted with Phoenix, had a nice year in New Jersey. This is a guy who played with Jermaine O'Neal, Tim Thomas, and the McDonald's All-American team out of high school, so he could play, and maybe it just taken him a while to get acclimated.
Went right into pro basketball out of nearby Oak Hill Academy, and in that last meeting, the big story was rebounds by San Antonio. They dominated there. Stackhouse out high. And there's Jordan, a quick shot. And as you mentioned, in the open, so much of his offense now coming from the perimeter.
Yeah, well, you don't see him get to the line as much as he used to. You don't see the explosiveness. And, well, what do you expect? I mean, you're 39 years old. You're not going to be as talented as you were 5 years ago unless you're a guy named Bonds.
Duncan off the nice feed with the jam. I think the other factor, you pointed this out too, with Michael, with wisdom. And now 39 years old, he has a lot of that. He's tired of getting banged around under there.
Yeah, I mean, you can only take a beating so long. And he just, he can't elevate over people like he used to, and he doesn't get the separation that he used to. That's why you see the shooting percentage down around 42, 43%, as opposed to when he was playing in his prime, 49, 50%.
Shot clock down to 1, and a jump out block there by Duncan. Now San Antonio. A long-distance shot knocked down by Bruce Bowen, a 6'7" product out of Cal State Fullerton. He was wide open.
He doesn't score a whole lot, but he does like the corner three-pointers. That's usually where he's going to find his offense. But his meal ticket's defending people.
Known as one of the top defensive specialists in the NBA, Michael feeds out for Leitner. Got it. Christian Leitner for 2. And that ends what was an 8-0 run by San Antonio.
Well, that's one thing he can do. Leitner can shoot. He's not going to beat you down the low blocks. You got to try to get on him and force him to put it on the ground.
Parker with a jump pass to Robinson. And Michael to run the offense. A long lead pass and a bit too far for Haywood.
We talk about Tim Duncan. This is one of the best low post players in the game, if not the best. And right here, seals Leitner off. And just a real nice pass by David Robinson. Right on stride. All he has to do is catch, and it's an easy layup.
Duncan right now on an amazing run.
Another good pass by Dave.
David Robinson feeding everybody under the basket for easy hoops. Duncan, by the way, has scored at least 25 points with 15 rebounds in each of his last 4 games. Tommy, that is the longest streak of his career like that.
Well, it's surprising. When I read that, I was shocked because he's just so consistent. You expect every single night. I think it was 309 out of 400 games played that he's had double-doubles. Every day you look in the box score, it's 22 and 12, 25 and 13. Oh.
David Robinson with shades of about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, circus shot there.
And a timeout with 7:24 to play here in the first quarter. San Antonio, they looked groggy early, but they've opened up a 12-4 lead here in the first quarter in our nation's capital, taking on Michael and the Wizards tonight. Well, that's right. Right now, getting buried a bit by the fine passing of David Robinson and the San Antonio Spurs. Defensively, the Spurs have been exceptional early on, but they've been that way all season long, Tom, leading the NBA in block shots and also lowest opponent's field goal percentage. Look at that, just 41% from the field.
Well, the reason they're able to do that is because you have David Robinson and Tim Duncan in the back line. But Steven Jackson can defend. Bowen can defend. You have guys that can get out and defend, and they force you to play their style of basketball. Yeah, like I said, you can't grind it out against this team. If you're going to play the game in the high 70s to mid 80s, you stand very little chance of beating this team. That's the way they like to play, and they'll be very content to do that.
Yeah, the so-called little guys, as Hughes can't get the roll, they can defend as well as the 7-footers. And so San Antonio puts the clamps down. Leitner with a give to Hayward underneath, and a hook shot goes. Nice feed by Christian Leitner. So 12-6 in the early minutes here at the MCI Center tonight. Robinson up high. Here's Bowen. He'll try another one. In and out this time. It almost went into the cylinder.
Robinson's doing a great job of finding people that are open from the mid-post right there. Nice
Stack up with a hard drive. Banks it in.
But when you're 7-1 and he knows Hayward's not going to come out and guard him, someone's got to put a hand in his face so he can't clearly see all the passing lanes, because right now he's just picking people apart.
Go with it. Stackhouse has 4 points.
Got him.
There he is, free. Robinson trying to get free. Tied up and fouled. Michael Jordan, Tim Duncan, or Jerry Stackhouse, all in tonight's game. Which players will be all-star starters? Log on to NBA.com and cast your ballot for the 2003 NBA All-Star Game in Atlanta. Of course, Michael just in the last 15 games becoming a starter again off the bench.
And really the numbers have been pretty much the same. The wins, the losses, the scoring's up a little. The shooting percentage is down some. I thought the Bulls would be better than they are at this point of the season. I just thought with Michael being here and the second year with some guys being around Michael Jordan that the team would be a little bit better. But just having no options down low, mental mistakes at the end of the games has really hurt this team.
The Wizards with a lane violation. That's why Robinson got 3 attempts.
I always loved that.
The lane violation.
Oh, my goodness. That was so pure. So you missed. It's like, it's like finding a 20 in your pocket when you pull your jeans out of the wash. It's like, ha-ha! I get another one. But if you miss it, it really stinks. It really stinks if you miss it.
The dunk.
Nice.
Wide open under the paint. Brendan Hayward, the 7-footer out of North Carolina, slamming it down. Jackson thought about a three, instead dumping into Duncan. Leitner on him. A couple of bangers out of the ACC, and it's banged away from Duncan. Stackhouse. There's Michael. Blocked from behind by Jackson, but Hayward's there again to follow.
Hayward very animated the last couple minutes. Getting it done down low, and he's getting it done just by being big and being available.
So a couple of North Carolina men hooking up there at Hayward and in Michael Jordan. Stackhouse, of course, is a Tar Heel as well, as Parker gets two. 16-12. Michael Jordan in his entire career as a Chicago Bull didn't have this many North Carolina players on the same team with him. He has two in the starting lineup alongside him. Hayward collects the rebound. Michael Jordan from the perimeter. In and out. Robinson with a one-handed rebound. Jordan is 0 for 4 from the field. And a whistle. 4:45 to go in the first quarter.
You see the lob pass right there. David Robinson just over-committed to the other side of the court. Brenda Hayward, just put your arms up right there. That's his hustle. Just over 7 feet tall, big fella. Just get under there, keep your arms up. Sometimes the ball will find you.
Second-year man who says his favorite NBA star growing up was not Michael Jordan, amazingly enough, but Magic Johnson. A jump out, a steal by Stackhouse. Oh, yeah. Gary Stackhouse to the easy way. He's looking to make up for an off night last night where he was 4 out of 15 from the field in the loss to Orlando.
Well, it's one of those things, too, at the end of the game. He thought he was going to get more shots, and sometimes you got to find a way to create your own shots, and an easy way to find a way to create your own shots, play good defense.
Yeah, he complained after a loss to the Detroit Pistons last week in the fourth quarter when he only got one shot that he was not seeing the ball enough. He tries from the corner. Duncan there.
And I read a quote, Michael Jordan said this is not the time to be pointing fingers. This is the time of the season where you can go one way or the other. These type of teams that are right around 500 can go into the tank, or they can catch fire and try to get themselves into playoff position.
Well, Stackhouse trying to catch fire. He's taken 6 early shots. Up top to Leitner. Stackhouse working on Jackson. Got it under the big fella again, and Hayward's on fire. Another hook shot, that ties it.
That's certainly a pleasant surprise for Doug Collins getting this kind of scoring this early from Brendan Hayward.
And especially with Robinson and Duncan on the floor, they needed a big man to step up. And so far, Hayward certainly has. Duncan isolated on Leitner. Oh! Ouch!
Oh, double pie in the face.
Oh,
jeez.
Tim Duncan, the reigning NBA MVP, schooling Christian Leitner.
Hayward came over and got a little bit of that, too.
Yes, he did.
He should have stayed away.
Hughes with a sweet touch. A little fadeaway jumper for 2. Larry Hughes.
I think we talk about the turnovers in critical situations that the Wizards have had trouble with at points this year. Hughes is still trying to learn how to play point guard. He was an off guard, played off guard for Philly and Golden State. They tried to turn him, Golden State tried to turn him into a point guard. And point guards, Michael Jordan with a jump shot there. Point guards got to be able to get guys the ball in the right positions, and that's a learning process.
Well, both of these teams playing on back-to-back nights, but over the last 7 or 8 minutes, they have shown no ill effects. Leitner experiencing some ill effects courtesy of Tim Duncan on the dunk. In the first quarter, the Wizards have taken a 2-point lead over San Antonio, and that man, Brendan Hayward, a big reason why he has shown up tonight. The 7-footer is playing strong.
He's just been getting down the court and getting good position. And when you get good position, you're 17, 1 inches tall, you're going to be able to do some damage down there. And he's been hustling, too. He's been around the bucket. And a lot of times, big guys don't make themselves available to the smaller guys as they're driving. So he's done a nice job of making himself available for the pass.
Now, when you look at the youngsters, Hayward and Kwame Brown, and the night they had against Memphis, each of them with a double-double, but since then, Tom, their performances, at least until tonight, have tailed off.
sometimes I think, and in terms of Haywood, I don't think he's ever going to be a dominant scorer. I think he can block shots and he can rebound. But with Kwame Brown, I don't think you're going to be able to tell with these high school guys until their third or fourth year, really how good they're going to be. And I think right now you look at him and he keeps getting better, but yet he takes a step back every once in a while. With a young player, that's going to happen.
Kwame Brown checking into the ball game for Doug Collins. The Wizards up by 2. Leitner takes a seat. And Michael Jordan is also sat down. The stats in the first quarter, which still has 2 minutes and 20 seconds to run. Smith into the game. Rose holding up high. Off to Duncan. And it's tipped into the corner. Brown tried to save, but did to the Spurs. And they have a new shot clock.
You don't want to fly in and stands get hurt on New Year's Eve.
No, of all time, not around the holidays. Duncan with a turnaround banker. Rose said he tipped it out of bounds. Russell tried to convince the referee it was not there. Wednesday, you can spend New Year's Day with ESPN and the NBA at 7 o'clock Eastern. The Toronto Raptors visit the New York Knicks. NBA Wednesdays on ESPN. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. The Knicks, of course, defeated the Spurs last night. Allen Houston with 28 points, including the foul shots that sealed it in the final seconds. Although Duncan had a chance to win it. He had a last-second shot that missed, and he said, I thought I had it all the way. He thought it was in. Stackhouse with a terrific drive, banks in for 2. Washington up by 22-18. They're on an 18-6 run. Bowen short on a 3, but Duncan right back with it. Tipped up and in. The Spurs around the basket, with Rose getting his first 2.
He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I just love the way Malik Rose plays. It's all out when he's on the court. He finds himself around the ball a lot. When you find yourself around the ball a lot, that means you're hustling.
Stackhouse was fouled. 1:02 to play in the quarter.
You see right there, a little hesitation. I mean, that you would call that, I guess, the little printouts to give you the little play-by-plays. That would say Stackhouse layup.
Yeah.
That is
doesn't begin to tell it.
No, I'm sorry. You have a guy that's like 7 foot flying at you, and you got to move the ball around. That's just not your ordinary run-of-the-mill layup.
Jerry Stackhouse averaging 22 a game. Way off the mark there. But at some point, this is going to become his team and no longer Michael Jordan's. And, of course, Jordan is retiring at the end of the season. That was a rather ugly effort.
Either a bad shot or a bad pass.
Yeah.
Hard to tell. Didn't have much lift on it.
Teron Lue with it.
Good dig by Rose.
And Duncan comes away with it, but the pressure by Rose caused the turnover. Parker backs out, free territory. It's spun in for him. So Tony Parker, who matched his career high with 32 points on Saturday against the Bulls. He also handed out 10 assists. He had a great night. Ties up the ball game.
Still hard to believe when you look at Tony Parker's in his second year. Just because of composure he played last year. In his rookie year, almost played like a 4 or 5 year vet.
Last year, the youngest Spur in franchise history, playing in the season opener at 19 years old. It's just his second year. 8.6 seconds left on the clock here in the first quarter. And Brown to the line. Kwame Brown to shoot. And another kid, just 20 years old. The big guy, 6'11". Just right out of high school in Glenn Academy in Georgia. This is how young Kwame Brown is. Now, Michael Jordan's famous shot against Georgetown in 1982, the very year that Kwame Brown was born.
It's amazing.
That puts it in perspective. And how many big shots Michael Jordan has hit since that date in his legendary career. Michael right now averaging about 17 a game, taking his seat these last several minutes of the first quarter.
With the customary towel over the shoulders.
10-time NBA scoring champ. Trying to lift this young team
Nice pass.
Parker to Duncan. Parker got airborne, drew the attention. Nice feed to Tim Duncan.
They always say don't jump to pass. I disagree. Some players have that ability.
He wound up with 4 assists in the first quarter, which ends tied at 24. The San Antonio Spurs getting a lot of balance from their starters, Tom.
Everybody getting into it. Steven Jackson from the corner. And you get the nice cut by Bruce Bowen right there. And you get that because everybody's moving. A little circus shot right there by David Robinson. Tony Parker says a couple dribbles. No one's going to come out of me. I'll take it. And then, of course, the... Oh, no. You know when you see that, if you wait up late enough that night, you will indeed see it again.
Kevin, absolutely correct. And a look at our game track. San Antonio shooting 42%. Tim Duncan leading with 6 points. For the Wizards, well, they heated up late in the quarter. 48% from the field. 2 players with 8 points, including Brendan Hayward, who came into the game averaging about 6.5 points a game, and he's already topped that to go along with 5 rebounds. Points in the paint. The Wizards have a surprising lead there.
Yeah, well, it's been Brendan Hayward being active down in the paint. But if you're San Antonio, I think you're happy right now. You're playing on the road. You're tied at the end of the one, and Washington's shooting 48%. Yeah, I doubt very much they're going to be able to sustain 48% throughout the course of the game.
Hayward at 54% from the field. It's a long, long time on the road for San Antonio. They're in the midst of a long stretch of road games, playing 11 out of 13 away from Texas. Rose with a jump pass to Duncan. Thomas fouled and the basket. How about Duncan able to convert the hoop? He'll go to the line.
A little English threw it up off the glass. Get hit and just being strong with it. And you say, what the heck? I mean, you're open. And Malik Rose saw him roll off that pick right there. And Eton Thomas just came down his shoulder. You can't, it won't go if you don't shoot it. So at that point, you just go ahead and throw it up there.
Duncan last season as opposed to this year, not a whole lot of difference. Of course, the MVP a season ago, and he was just named the NBA's West Player of the Week for the 2nd straight week. So his play by no stretch tailing off. Another terrific year for him, averaging 22 points and nearly 13 rebounds a game. Trying to get San Antonio deeper into the playoffs, though, than the 2nd round exit, courtesy of the Lakers and Shaq last year. Lou pulls up on Kerr, and it's in and out. Another veteran, Steve Kerr, getting some minutes here for the San Antonio club. He feeds Duncan, who powers his way in, but Brown blocked it.
A great job right now. Now you got to try to get something off it. Push it and see if you get something quick instead of having to set it up.
Russell drives hard and took the foul.
See, when you get on the break like that, then you get people scrambling. And right here, you're going to see a tremendous block by Kwame Brown. He gets him in a bad position. Then just the athletic ability takes over right there. Blocks the shot, you head the other way, and Brian Russell gets to the line for 2.
Kwame Brown, the first player out of high school ever selected with the 1st overall pick in the NBA draft. Byron Russell at the line. And he's a birthday boy today. Free agent. Played for Utah last season. A 10-year NBA veteran. And a whistle. Another lane violation. Sal Masakela, what do you have, my man?
Well, I did not know that it was Brian Russell's birthday until I went into the locker room before the game. So I asked him what he wanted for New Year's. He said, I want to have a good birthday. I said, when's your birthday? He said, it's today, man. We need to get a win. And the funny thing was, he said, you know, a lot of the guys on the team right now are playing really, really well as individuals. But it is the time right now for New Year's, and we need to gel and learn to play as a team so we can maybe think about something that resembles the playoffs.
Sal, it did not sound like you were a man bringing gifts, unfortunately. The fadeaway by Smith. Steve Smith can't get the jump shot. So here come the Wizards again. They're trailing by 1. Hughes with a leaner got his own miss and floated it in. Larry Hughes. Larry Hughes, a very smooth jump shooter and scorer. He grew up in St. Louis with R&B star Nelly. And grew up with a nickname Smooth. That's a pretty smooth jump shot by a guy who's hit a lot of them.
He's the guy that's best when he's going to the bucket like that. When he stands still and takes jump shots, he's not as effective. But when he takes an aggressive mentality and tries to get to the rim and make something happen, then his jump shot works out a lot better than it does when he's standing flat-footed. Nice pass.
And Jackson could not handle it, lost it out of bounds. 10 minutes to play before halftime here in Washington. Greg Popovich and his team trying to win tonight on the road.
That was just one of those ones where Steven Jackson had a wide open layup. But sometimes you see the rim and you see no defenders and you see the ball and the ball can't get there quick enough. It's like, oh, you drop it out of bounds.
Do you actually physically make that sound, Tom?
I used to. I didn't get many shots. So, yeah, I mean, if I missed an opportunity, that could have been like 1/4 of my scoring.
That's a little frightening, although you do it very well. Hughes bounces out for loose. Shot clock at 2. Oh, it rolled out. He got it off in time, but it couldn't go down.
I'm going to say he didn't call that one.
Robinson on a high post. Jackson takes a screen. Nicely done.
Well, someone's got to help. See, if the point guard's going to push, or the off guard's going to push the guy baseline, the big guy's got to know that. He's got to adjust and be over there before the guy. A guy shouldn't get from the wing all the way to the rim without being challenged.
Thomas blowing right by David Robinson. Etan Thomas, the 6'9" Syracuse. So no block that time by the Admiral. It was the number 4 shot blocker in NBA history. Smith with a pull-up in the paint.
And that's a nice play by Steve Smith and a better play by Steven Jackson finding him off the cut. If you're the Wizards right there, give him a little bump. Let him know you're around.
So the Spurs have taken a 33-32 lead. We have a timeout with 8:45 to play before the half. We have had 6 lead changes. These are 2 clubs that played last night. Both of them lost tough games, but the play so far has been surprisingly crisp here in the nation's capital. Kevin, of course, the Portland Trail Blazers, the hottest thing in sneakers right now. Tonight, San Antonio has taken a 33-32 lead over the Washington Wizards and Michael Jordan. Steven Jackson's been cooking.
Well, you see right there, the pick's being set up high, and Kwame Bryant or Etan Thomas got to know that. They're the ones that have to rotate over there. There's no way a guy should get on a pick and roll from the wing all the way to the bucket right there. I think Steve Smith's telling him, yeah, that was a good move. I used to be able to do that 10 years ago.
Yeah, when the knees were a little healthier.
Exactly.
Jackson went right into pro ball out of Oak Hill Academy. Drafted by Phoenix, but they played in the CBA, Australia, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic. That's how he wound up in the NBA.
And making the most of it this year and getting some time. The reason he's getting time is because he can do stuff like that athletically and defensively.
Robinson got hammered.
He grabbed the rim.
Yeah, so they'll wave off the basket, but it was going down.
It was going to go down.
It was going to count.
That was like 2 of those shots. It's like, wait, Smith's been practicing those and shoot around.
Brings a little grin from Kerr because he had an assist on the play and a dandy at that. But the hang on the rim waves it off. Robinson will go to the line.
Really? Is there any excuse to ever hang on the rim when the ball's up there? I mean, so what if it doesn't go in? What are you going to do? Grab the rim and grab and dunk it? That doesn't count either. I mean, you see right here, and Malik Rose grabs the rim, and there's no benefit to ever grabbing the rim. He knew. Malik knows.
Here's a New Year's resolution for you.
He's like, sorry, big fella, you know, I know it's your last year and everything, I owe you a couple. At the end of his career, David will be able to say, you know what? How many other points I had? I should have had 2 more.
2 more. Michael Jordan back in. He sat out 6 minutes. He returns for Washington. And Michael threw the ball away. Brown tipped it. It should be San Antonio ball, and it will be. 8:07 to play here in the second. Well, be sure to tune in to ESPN tomorrow night as the Raptors take on the Knicks at 7 Eastern. Then Thursday on TNT, it's the Wizards and Bulls at 7:30 Eastern, followed by the Sixers and the Suns. On Friday on ESPN, the Red Hot Blazers take on the Celtics at 8 o'clock, followed by the Nuggets and the Sonics. All coming up on your NBA calendar. So a busy week ahead. Tom Tolbert, Dave O'Brien tonight from the MCI Center here in Washington. Kerr with a short jumper.
You always got to be careful of the guy coming off the second guy off the staggered pick. And that's one way Steve Kerr's been able to make his living in the last 15 years in the NBA. Smart player, he can hit open jump shots.
That's like a layup for him, the 37-year-old veteran.
Oh.
Michael Jordan goes down, a near steal by Kerr. Lou looking at that shot clock. It's at 5. Nice feed to Thomas. Got it.
Boy, excavating some land under there. He just cleared some space. And with those shoulders, a little pivot, a little turn, he could certainly clear a little space.
Yeah, 6'9", about 260. And figures to play some minutes tonight against the Spurs' big lineup. Steve Kerr getting some key minutes early.
And you see right there, Smith is going to curl, and then here comes Steve Kerr, and Lou gets picked off. No one there to help him. One dribble lead in. Someone's got to contest that. That's a 95% shot for Steve right there.
Kerr battling to save Michael Jordan. He shares 3 championship rings with. Because technically Michael has his own ring. Thomas has it blocked. And Smith directing traffic. San Antonio on the march. Robinson dumps. Great give.
Great, and that's the one thing, and Robinson doesn't do it as much as he used to. That's the one thing that made him stand out over all of the centers with his speed. Flat-out speed right down the middle of the court, and you saw a little taste of it there.
Michael Jordan, who altogether has 6 NBA championship rings, gets the jump shot. Very smooth effort by his airness. 39-36 San Antonio. A little surprised by the offense tonight. Pretty crisp by both teams.
Yeah, especially both teams having to travel last night. It wasn't like back-to-back and one team was at home. Both teams having to travel.
Jordan with a theft. Michael kind of bowling his way in a little awkwardly for him. Very awkwardly for him. Let's get a look at that Spurs break in transition.
We talked about Eton Thomas clearing space. That time didn't clear enough as Malik Rose got a piece of it. And you can see Smith over to Jackson. Sweet pass. Robinson going right underneath the rim. Greg Popovich a little hot after that call. It looked pretty apparent that Michael Jordan pushed off on that one.
It did to us. And to this partisan crowd, maybe not so. The feed, and he lays it in. Michael airborne for 2.
Yeah, that's something that I guarantee everybody would have been up in their chairs for about 5 minutes after that 5 years ago. But that's age. But you know what? You think the game, you can still get open. You don't always have to dunk to get 2. You get 2 with a layup as well.
Duncan tossed it right to Stackhouse. His 1-on-2, and he was fouled before he ever got near the basket. But Michael Jordan, on occasion, can still elevate.
Well, he's playing a little peekaboo right there behind David Robinson and said, you know what? Maybe I can't get up and dunk it like I used to, but a layup is 2 points just the same.
We are. We're very tight. We're humming strum here in our nation's capital. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And as we turn the page on another year and head for 2003, looking ahead down the road a bit in this NBA season, Tom Tolbert, what do you see? What are our questions that need to be answered in 2003?
Well, one, I'd like to see how the Los Angeles Lakers are going to fare coming out of January. Can they get to 500, which would take a 9-3 mark coming out of the month? How are the Mavericks going to react to being the hunted team? Now it's a big deal to beat the Mavericks. Yao Ming, Amari Stoudemire, you're talking about the Rockets and the Suns. These guys are 2 big contributors inside for both those teams. Are they going to be able to break through that rookie wall and continue on? The Nets at home, we know they can win. On the road, they're 5-8 to win NBA championships. You got to be a good team as well as a good home team as well as a road team. And how's Kenny Thomas going to fit in with the Sixers? I think that acquisition kind of went under the radar, but I think it's a good acquisition for them.
Shaq and Kobe threw down the gauntlet for the rest of the Lakers several weeks ago, and it seemed to spur them on, especially after Shaq's comments, to a huge win over Dallas, but they have not established momentum since then. How important is it for them to be at 500 at the end of January?
Well, I think it's a big deal, and not just because of making the playoffs or not, but feeling good about yourself and playing good basketball. They don't need to worry about records. They need to worry about just making the playoffs, and they need to start playing good basketball to do that and to feel like, hey, once we get there, we have a chance at something.
Tyronn Lue And he is one guy who, along with Larry Hughes, that Doug Collins says been big surprises, very pleasant surprises for Washington.
Well, he's a pretty steady guy. Pretty steady guy who play good defense, can hit the open jump shot, and as a point guard knows how to win.
How about Thomas? And with a foul on the head of Bowen, but that was a man block. 40-39.
I think he made his point.
Yes, he did. Emphatically.
Wow. Bowen going left, up, and just off the nugget, or almost off the nugget. I think he smelled rubber as it was going by, or some leather as it was going by. I thought how hard that thing was coming
He
down.
smelled it over here. 5:19 to play here in the second.
Well, some blocks are blocked, some are vicious. That was Coach Karai-like right there. That was vicious. That was a kill. They call it a kill in volleyball. That was a kill.
That's a do not dare come in here again kind of block.
That's when you go in again, you start looking over your shoulder thinking, who is that guy? I know he's around here somewhere.
And just that little hesitation. Michael doesn't hesitate at all. The Wizards on a run of 8 straight points, and they've taken a 42-39 lead. Jordan with 8. Getting it going from outside is number 23. Duncan facing Brown. He's up for Parker. He lines up a 3.
Nope.
Not there for him. Tipped out of bounds off of Washington with the San Antonio ball.
You know, we keep so many stats now. What a guy does going left, what he does going right, how he shoots on nights he eats starch for a pregame meal. I would like to know what the stat is when guys actually look down at that three-point line and then shoot. Never seems to work.
The look down 3.
Yeah, it never works. Like, let me see where I am. Now just catch and shoot.
It's a great idea, and that's what we need. Jordan on the spin. Got it! That's vintage Michael.
Yep. You know, he doesn't do it as consistently as he used to, but when he does, it's almost like you're sitting here having flashbacks, isn't it? Like, oh, yeah, that's vintage Michael Jordan.
Yeah, like that night against the Sixers, he hit 24 of 29 shots. A bank no good. Nice follow, though. Smith got free underneath. Let's see if Michael keeps feeling it. Working on Bowen. And he got fouled while airborne. That spin move was a sight to see. David Robinson seen it more than once.
You can see the look right there. It's oops, oh, wrong way. And then Bowen actually comes back, gets a hand in his face. By that time, Michael was in rhythm. And you can just see the look in his eye right now. Okay, yeah, well, I didn't have it going on early. That little layup got him going a little bit. Then a couple jumpers. Now take him to the hole.
Michael Jeffrey Jordan, a 10-time NBA scoring champ. You look at how his free throw attempts, you talked about this earlier, have diminished.
Yeah, well, he's not going to the hole as much as he used to, and he can't finish like he used to. And I think he knows that. And just to go in there and take a beating for nothing, and maybe get the shot blocked, and maybe not be as... I just think it comes down to, look, I'm not as explosive. I can't get there as much, so why try?
Well, he has scored 10 of the last 12. We are in Washington, the MCI Center. Dave O'Brien, Tom Tolbert with you. It's the San Antonio Spurs against Jordan's Wizards. Duncan, the reigning MVP, had it blocked. That triggers the break, but they can't convert it. Stackhouse tries to save it, and Duncan with a catch. Rose with a bounce pass and 2 for the Spurs.
Well, that's rough for Washington. You make a great defensive play, a block, you get out on the break, and Lou just couldn't deliver that pass to Stackhouse in a manner to which he could just catch and finish. But they're getting it done. The Wizards are getting it done on the defensive end right now.
46-43, the Wizards. Last season, they finished in 5th place in the Atlantic with a 37-45 record. But Jordan trying to carry them to the playoffs. Stackhouse. And Kwame Brown completes the effort.
Well, they're getting in the middle a lot tonight. That's one thing that you don't do, generally speaking, against the San Antonio Spurs. And when you do that, they collapse on you. Tonight, they're getting to the middle and making plays.
Smith can't convert. Thomas with a rebound. Jordan trying to keep it going. In the paint. Kicks out. Stackhouse faked the 3. Now a 2. Michael Jordan with the pass to Stackhouse. The Tar Heels hook up for a nifty bucket. Timeout. San Antonio.
And once again, Michael Jordan getting to the middle, getting the defense to collapse, and then kicking it out to Jerry Stackhouse.
2:44 to play before halftime, and the Wizards looking sharp with Jordan. 43 points so far for the San Antonio Spurs, but Michael Jordan has lifted the Wizards to a 7-point lead since he returned to the game. They're on an 18-8 run.
And you can see it, too, when you look at his eyes as he's running down the court. It's like, okay, it's on. Let me see if I can get some shots up and see what I have going. And I know that look, too, because I used to guard guys that had that look and they're looking at me. Yeah. You see right there. I mean, that shot he made on Bowen. He knew he was going to shoot that the moment he caught the ball. It was just, how am I going to get this shot off?
Now on the bench, where Michael Jordan spent a good portion of the first quarter. Obviously, Washington didn't play very well with him in the game. They're up 12.
I just run him out there every minute then. Until the car breaks down. Just say, you know, if you're that good, we keep getting this many pluses. Let's go 48.
The three-point shot from the corner, knocked down by Bruce Bowen. He's hit a couple, and he has 12 points. 50-46. Stackhouse off to Jordan. Working on Bowen, one of the premier defenders in the league. Hard to defend that, but Michael couldn't get it. So it wasn't there that time for number 23. Bowen working on Michael Jordan. Now to Duncan. Foul by Kwame Brown. He stepped in and nailed it with 7 seconds left on the shot clock.
Jeez. Lucky they didn't get a misdemeanor for that. Mugged him. You see Brendan Haywoodson over there watching a little bit of the action. Got up to such a good start in the first quarter, giving him some much-needed interior offense. And right now, Kwame Brown and Eton Thomas not doing a lot of scoring, but giving it to him on the defensive end.
Duncan perhaps on his way to another double-double. He had one last night in that brutal loss to the Knicks, 31-17. There were fist fights and ejections in that game. Kevin Willis was suspended, in fact. And is not with the Spurs tonight, 50-48. 1 minute, 40 seconds to play before the half.
That's one of my New Year's resolutions, to find out who created those thunder sticks and ask that guy why. If you're going to cheer, you need to work for it. You need to work for your cheers.
I got a tip for you. Start your search in Anaheim. Stackhouse missed his three. And now Smith backs his way in. Duncan with a hard-fought rebound got tied up in a jump ball. 1:14 to play in the second quarter here in Washington. Tim Duncan has been on a terrific roll lately with 13 consecutive double-doubles. And he'll just murder you in the paint, Tommy. Leads the NBA with over 400 points in the paint.
Well, he knows he can shoot out to about 17 feet. He loves working the glass. But he knows where he's going to be the best option for the San Antonio Spurs. It's down on the block.
Brown wins the jump.
And so fundamentally sound. Jump hooks, jump shots, up and unders. I mean, he really has just about everything that we want down there. Maybe the only guy I remember having more than him is Kevin McHale.
67 double-doubles over the last 5 years. More than any player in the NBA. That's Tim Duncan. Thomas could not get the short hook shot. So the Spurs trying to tie it or take the lead. A high-scoring first half, that's for sure. Rose into the paint, nearly lost it. Sort of a pass there to Duncan, and he laid it in.
Let me chalk him up for an assist.
Go ahead, why not? The Spurs off to a 7-0 run here to tie it at 50.
If you're Malik, you're thinking, I'd really like an assist on that. If you're Duncan, you're thinking, well, that's an offensive rebound.
Absolutely. I think Timmy might win that one. Lou down the lane was fouled. So 23 seconds to go in the first half. 14 on the shot clock.
Just to let you know, you may have to dust off the defibrillator at halftime. If both teams at 50 points, get out of here.
You would not have expected that.
Not in this game.
With these two teams, and both of them traveling last night.
I never expected anyway.
No.
Of any team, unless maybe Sacramento and Dallas are playing. But certainly not these two teams. But they've been, there's a nice pace to this game right now. Both teams getting up and down a little bit, shooting a good percentage, and kind of, doing what they do. And like you said, both teams coming in, the Wizards coming in out of Orlando, San Antonio coming in out of New York, playing a good basketball game tonight.
So 23 seconds left in the first half. Popovich working the referees. And he has time to diagram one more play here. It'll be San Antonio ball. And coming up next, Capital One Bowl week continues on ESPN2 as two explosive offenses collide in the inaugural Diamond Walnut San Francisco Bowl. Chance Harridge and the Air Force Falcons take on Lee Suggs and the Virginia Tech Hokies. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. Air Force leading the nation with 314.5 rushing yards per game.
Isn't that the biggest oxymoron there is? Air Force? They never throw the ball.
Never throw the ball.
That's all they do is run the ball there at Air Force.
Stick to the ground, and it's working beautifully for them. And so far, an excellent first half for Michael Jordan, who, like David Robinson, another signature player from the 1990s, is retiring at the end of the year. I think for the Admiral, one retirement will be enough.
I believe so.
In Michael's case, a few more than that, but two of the all-time greats. David Robinson heading to the Hall of Fame as well, without a doubt. Making his tour through the league here one final time. Chosen number 1 overall in 1987. 1990 Rookie of the Year, won the MVP in 95. And he has a world championship ring as well.
If I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, I think he won a scoring title as well when he laid about 70 on the Clippers. I was on that team. Yep. Although I wasn't there to witness that, I was on the RR side. I just went to Vegas that weekend. I watched it on TV.
A wise choice, Tom. Last shot before the half for San Antonio. The Wizards up 2. Duncan setting up around the foul line with Hayward right behind him. Clock down to 5. Bowen trying to move on the baseline. There was a whistle in the paint. And it's a 3-second violation. So the Spurs don't get a shot off.
Well, Tim Duncan was there and Tim Duncan was open. I don't know if they didn't have the passing angle or the passing lanes were closed when they tried to get him the ball, but sometimes when you're open, you just want to stay there. You don't want to move, and they couldn't get it to him, hence the 3-second violation.
Larry Hughes comes into the ballgame, another shooting option for Doug Collins for the Wizards. And Ginobili is also in the ballgame for San Antonio. Lou lost it on a hard drive. Knocked out of bounds. 0.7 remaining on the clock.
And no one wants to take a last shot.
No, apparently not. It'll go back to San Antonio.
0.7. Time for one more turnover, maybe.
Time for a tip. Ginobili with a hook shot. He
metal
did
like lemon.
Yeah. But not the same results as the great Harlem Globetrotters. So at halftime, it'll be the Washington Wizards 52 and the San Antonio Spurs 50. Plenty of offense in this first half for Duncan and Jordan. So both teams shooting the ball very effectively. That's the end of the first half. Right now, let's go to Sal Masekela with Jerry Stackhouse. Sal?
Jerry Stackhouse, you guys had a really nice first half. It seemed like a lot of the other younger players seemed to get involved, which kind of helped off your offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of energy. I mean, we're playing with a lot of energy. We're getting up and down, being able to get some baskets out of transition. That's such a big team. We don't want to get bogged down in all half court, but we're playing good defense also.
Now, when you played these guys last time, in the second half, they came out and got 57 on you. What are you going to have to do in this second half to keep that from not happening?
Well, we definitely got to maintain the defensive intensity that we played with in the first half. But, I mean, they're a team that they continually go to Tim Duncan to try to make plays for him. And hopefully we've been doing a good job on him in the first half. You know, he has 13 points, but, you know, we can keep him to 13 in the second half. I think that would be a good job on him.
All right, good luck. That'll be a nice way to set off the new year.
Definitely.
All right, man. All the best. Back to you, Dave.
Jerry South, thank you very much. That's the end of the first half. Our score, Washington 52, San Antonio 50. Kevin Frazier and Greg Anthony coming your way next with the 1-800-CALL AT&T halftime report. That's coming up in just a moment. Stackhouse taking flight. A lot of help from his airness as well. We've got a good one at halftime. Washington by 2.
Coming to ESPN.
It's a New Year's Eve matchup inside our nation's capital, San Antonio against the Washington Wizards. They're at home tonight at the MCI Center, and Michael Jordan was looking very comfortable early on. He scored 12 points in 18 minutes in the first half. A sweet jump shot and some vintage Jordan in the first 2 quarters. But MVP Tim Duncan answered. He had 13 points on 5 of 12 shooting in the first half. But often in the first half, the Wizards found the open man. That time 7-footer Brendan Hayward led a big first couple of quarters. And at the break, Washington shooting very hot from the field. They have a 2-point lead over San Antonio. Happy New Year to you and yours from all of us here at ESPN. I'm Dave O'Brien along with Tom Tolbert. And Tom, we mentioned how well Washington has shot.
Well, when you look at 52% against the best defensive team in the NBA. And I don't know if that's something they had thought they could do. They're getting out on the break. They're scoring some easy transition buckets. And they're just hitting jump shots. I mean, if they continue to shoot 52%, they're going to give themselves a great chance to win this game. But if you're San Antonio, you're thinking, hey, we're only down 2 points, and they shot 52%. You got to feel pretty good about yourself.
And the Spurs, a team that is holding opponents to an NBA best, 41% shooting from the field.
Yeah, and I think what they have to do is do what they're doing offensively and don't change a whole lot defensively. Now, the Wizards gave them some grief when they got to the middle of the court, collapsed the defense, and were able to spot up jumpers. If they can continue to do what they do offensively and just close down the lanes a little bit, they got to be feeling like they're right in this thing. Well, they are right in this thing. They're down 2. That was a great comment, but that's what I get paid for. Stuff like that. To be right in the game, only down 2. That was brilliant right there.
They are right there. There's no denying your logic, Tom. And look at the top scorers. Duncan with 13, Jordan with 12. We've said that more than once. In a matchup between the Spurs and whoever Michael Jordan is playing for. Wearing that number 23 here in Washington, D.C. is sold-out crowd. And we looked at the field goal defense, and so far tonight, the Spurs haven't done the job the way they normally do, not by a long shot.
You know, official Jack Nace just came by and dropped us off a couple mints. And I always wonder when somebody gives you a mint, is it just a kind gesture, or are they telling you something?
Or is it a hint?
Exactly.
In our case, I think we know. The hot dog and the onions at halftime. So getting underway, Greg Popovich, who, by the way, is just a couple of wins shy of 300 in his coaching career. He turned over the general manager duties to R.C. Buford in July, so he's just a coach once again.
I think he enjoys it that way.
I think so. PJ Carlesimo also on his bench. He's got one of the great assistants. I got to believe PJ is going to be a head man running an NBA team very shortly himself. What do you think?
I would think so. I mean, I know he loves to teach basketball. That's one of the reasons he wanted to get back into coaching. Be on the sidelines, be around the guys, you know, coaching for Golden State, you know, things in what's the Spreewell thing. That just, I mean, that's not going to help you get another job quickly, just because, you know, word gets around the league, you know, he's not a player's coach. But I firmly believe that he's a guy, although he'll get on you a little bit, you just have to accept that. I mean, he's trying to make you a better basketball player by getting you to do things properly.
Well, you know he wants to win just as desperately as you do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe even more.
Yep. And last night, Spreewell with a gesture as the two of them walked off the court, putting his hand around PJ, and it was almost as if he was saying in that one little moment, all is past. Going into the corner. Off to Jackson. Just underway here in the third. And stolen away by Washington. Hughes charging. He also took out a cameraman in the process. And that's our guy. That's Kirk down there. Well done. Hanging in there, taking the charge. And 2 for Hughes.
Can you say Affleck?
Duncan for Parker. Again, he looked down, and that time he hit the 3.
Well, maybe we know it's 50% now.
That's not bad if that's the case.
If it's 50%, everybody be looking down. Believe me. Everybody was looking on the ground.
56-53. Washington in particular, very hot shooting in the first half. Can they sustain it? Hughes trying to keep it going and does.
Well, if he gets to feeling it and he feels comfortable shooting that 15 to 17-foot jump shot, there's not a whole lot Tony Parker can do about it, because Larry Hughes can jump right up over him and get that shot whenever he wants to.
Just 6 points in this quarter. The look, and there's the Admiral for two. The easy way. David Robinson slamming it down.
That was a little zone look they gave him. And against the zone, the soft underbelly of the defense is right there in the middle. And that's the gray area. Who has it? The top guys, the bottom guys, the side guys. David Robinson just cut down the middle and Duncan finds him.
I know we're moving forward into a new year, but this one has the feel of, a mid-'80s NBA game, a game perhaps into the hundreds. Blocked away by Duncan. He also took a shot to the forehead. Tim Duncan just now getting back into the play. The Admiral out for Bowen. Nifty fake by Jackson. Robinson doesn't shoot it. Now he does. Too strong. But he gets it back, and a new shot clock for San Antonio.
I think he wanted to pass it. He was just surprised nobody was weak side, and then they slept off him a little bit, so he figured, what the heck?
Robinson working on the youngster. Hayward had pushed him right out of the paint. 9:16 to play in the third quarter.
Yeah, Hayward's got to make sure that he's within arm's length, but he can't get out and guard David Robinson on the perimeter, because David Robinson will just go right by him. He's not as quick as he used to be, but he's quick enough to get around Hayward.
David winding down his brilliant 14-year NBA career. Well, do you want to see up to 40 games per week? Well, you can log on to NBA.com and sign up for NBA League Pass. The NBA, love it live with NBA League Pass. Two of the greats in the game, the greatest ever, Michael Jordan and the Admiral David Robinson, winding up their NBA careers in the same season. Laettner can't get it. Michael Jordan with another effort coming. Backs it in, swatted away by Duncan. And that's his fourth block.
That's what they do. Funnel them to the big fellas.
Leading the NBA in block shots, not surprisingly, with the two 7-footers, San Antonio Spurs. Duncan dunked on Laettner and rattled his teeth in the first half. 8 seconds on the shot clock as it was tipped away.
Tim Duncan just got whacked down there on the pass out. He's saying, come on. Because I'm not sure if they were going to call that, if that would have been a completed pass.
Laettner with the foul. Another look at the block by Tim Duncan.
Well, just funnel him. I'm here. Gotcha. He just stand right there waiting for him to shoot that shot. There was no way that was getting up over Tim Duncan.
It's one thing to block a shot, but to keep it in play, as Duncan was fouled, he wanted the basket on a continuation, but he will not get it. But you go back to the days of Bill Russell, who perfected the art of blocking a shot, keeping it in play, keeping it inbounds, and triggering a fast break.
I think yes and no. I think more often than not you want to keep it inbounds, but I think there's something to be said for taking somebody's shot and throwing it 5 rows up into the bleachers. I mean, that's intimidation. You do it all the time. It doesn't help you a whole lot.
Aye. Steven Jackson.
Well, 3 fouls to go. I got the E, you got the I. Maybe we should go E-I-E-I.
Yeah. He's going to practice. 59-58. San Antonio. 6 consecutive points by the Spurs. Stackhouse looking for room to work. And a whistle away from the basketball, and that's going to be 3 seconds. And it will be a defensive 3 and a technical.
Just doing the pull of Moses right there. It's right down the middle, and everybody just kind of standing and watching. And you're going to see right here, there's nobody comes over. Great crossover. But if you're Stackhouse, you're thinking, you might want a helmet.
Let's go to Sal Masekela. Sal?
I was talking to Steven Jackson before the game, and I asked him what his thoughts were on this possibly being the last time that he got to play against Michael Jordan. He said that the first time he played him a couple years ago, he'd get lured into just going, oh my God, there's Michael Jordan on the floor, as Michael Jordan scores again. He said, but in this game, he said, I want to make sure that the last time I play Michael Jordan, they say that I went all out and I got mine. And obviously with that dunk, he's trying to make a statement.
Well, he's going to have to go out and get Michael if he's going to lock him up, because he just nailed a 3. He has 15 points. Duncan got a hand on it, slams it in. Tim Duncan close range. 62-61 the Wizards. Hughes taking command of the point. Stackhouse on the dribble drive. Michael guarded by Bowen. And it's knocked away, or he just lost it. Parker ahead of the field.
He knew who was behind him, too.
That was Hayward.
He said, this is not going to work. Let's go ahead and set this one up.
The 7-footer breathing down his neck.
Good ball movement.
Jordan with a rebound. So right now, both sides a little tentative offensively, unable to break away. The first half was taut, very well played. Very tense. Laettner off to Hughes from the foul line.
That was a good ball movement right there. Laettner dribbling to the middle, and Hughes finding the soft spot right there on the free throw line. And they had to converge on Laettner on the drive, and Hughes uses a wide open jump shot.
He can score. He buried 41 on the Lakers 2 years ago for a season high. So he can fill it up. Duncan double teamed. And a foul, a reach in, and they've got Hughes. Larry Hughes with a reach in. Popovich didn't think so. And now,
we kick him out?
Is he gone? Is Tim Duncan gone? It's a technical, that's for sure. And now they're asking Duncan to back away. Remember last night in that tough loss to the Knicks, there were some fisticuffs. Willis was suspended. And now Duncan says, I will back away, kind of pulls himself away from his coach. And Stackhouse will shoot the technical. But has Duncan been ejected? That might be his question.
Oh, wow.
Has he been tossed? I believe they're trying to decide if it's 2 technicals or if Duncan has been ejected. Stackhouse makes the foul shot. Tim Duncan, along with P.J. Carlesimo, the assistant to Greg Popovich, talking it over, and that'll change, and it doesn't even need to be said, the whole complexion of this contest if Duncan is heading for the showers.
Well, I'm wondering what he said, because generally speaking, you're not going to get 2
technicals on Tim Duncan. Steven Jackson with 2 technicals. He's been ejected.
Okay.
Steven Jackson's been ejected.
I don't know, still, I'm just curious, because generally you get the first technical. I think then it's the onus of the official to walk away. And Steven Jackson's leaving. He got 2 technicals. Tim Duncan got 1 technical. And I just... usually has to be something more severe than just words. Because if you're going to rush up the official, let's say you touch him or you make body contact, okay, that's cause for ejection. Let's watch right here. We'll see what happened. And Duncan thought he got fouled. He was getting fouled right there. Okay, so he's going to get the technical because he feels like he's getting hammered down low. And then Steve Jackson pushed his hand away from... yeah, because Mark Davis, the official, hand was on Tim Duncan, and I guess that's what I was talking about. You touch an official, even though that's a little ticky-tack right there. He's just trying to get his hands off Tim Duncan. But still, you touch an official, very sensitive in that regard. And usually... well, interesting, that Steven Jackson wasn't even in he was trying to keep Tim Duncan away from the official. Ends up getting the official's hands off him.
Well, obviously, Tim Duncan thought, at least for a time there, he was ejected.
Exactly.
He got 1 technical. Jackson hit with 2, and thus he's ejected from the game. And so the Spurs have it. They're down 5.
We've had about a guy who's the 3rd leading scorer tonight as well.
Jackson fouled as he went to the basket.
I know you can't touch the officials, and that's certainly cause for ejection, but couldn't there be some common sense there where he's just getting his hand off Tim Duncan and he hits him with a tee? and then just says, don't touch me. Do not touch me. I'm going to give you a T. You touch me again, you're out of here. I mean, it wasn't like he bumped him with his chest.
Right.
Or it wasn't like he was attacking him. He just basically knocked his hand.
So what you're looking for is there has to be some malice involved in the touch. That's what you're saying.
Some intent. And some common sense, I think, is when you look at it right there. And I just think that he was trying to... I don't know. I look at that, and I know what the official's thinking, and I understand the reason. You don't want players touching officials, but it just seems a little common sense in a case like that.
The question is, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I know.
And at what point do you jump in and say, well, no, we're not going to allow that, but we'll allow this?
Well, I think doesn't common sense jump in at some point?
I think so.
I mean, I think common sense, every case is taken as an individual case, I believe.
Spurs with a basketball. Parker, a long-distance shot. Jordan with a rebound. Washington led by 2 at halftime. The scoring pace has slowed down markedly here in the third. A quick pass to Kwame Brown, but he did not shoot. Duncan jumped out to guard Hughes. Leitner setting the screen. Leitner got underneath. It was off the rim.
Leitner's not one of those guys you want to throw a lot of alley-oops to. I mean, you have him trying to make a perfect pass into him. And that was one that maybe Kwame Brown, something like that, can catch, not Christian Leitner.
Smith with a floater. It's tipped back out. Stackhouse with Jordan on a wing, but he takes it himself. And a foul on the play. 5:03 to play in the third. And so we have a timeout. With your score, Washington 66, San Antonio 63 on this New Year's Eve in Washington. Thank you, Ben. The Wizards up by 3 over San Antonio. Now, all of a sudden, the Spurs are a little shorthanded. Kevin Willis was suspended after last night's altercation at Madison Square Garden. Jackson moments ago double-teamed. He's out for touching Mark Davis, the referee.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, you say, just let common sense prevail. I'll say it again. I know you don't want players touching officials, but in a situation like that, there was no intent to hurt. There was no intent to intimidate. He was just trying to get Tim Duncan away from the official. Think of your Mark Davis. You hit him with 1 T, and you leave it at that. Although it's a situation where it could be, look, if they touch you,
right,
from the league, if they touch you, you get 2 Ts. We're not going to have that, and you're out of the game.
Right. But you don't think there was any intent to intimidate the officials? It was sort of like blowing him off as if, well, I'm just going to knock your hand down. Enough is enough. Don't eject our best players. Smith comes away with it, but it'll be a jump ball with 4:49 to play here in the third.
Yeah, I think blowing him off is the proper terminology, but blowing him off in intimidation is 2 different things. It wasn't like he slapped his hand and he stared at him, or slapped his hand and walked 2 inches away from his face. He slapped his hand, then he turned to Tim Duncan, and that was pretty much the end of it. And it wasn't really a slap. It was kind of like put his hand on and push it down.
I'll tell you this, Popovich and the Spurs are delighted. Number 21 is still in the game.
Absolutely.
Let's go over to Sal Masekela. Sal?
I can listen to you guys argue, discuss this one, excuse me. But I watched the whole thing from this side, and he had already grabbed hold of Tim Duncan. And from what I saw, it was his complete intention to get Tim Duncan out of the way. The hand check was a little bit incidental, but like you said, Tom, absolutely no desire to cause anything.
Stackhouse feeding Brown, who jumped into the rafters for it, but can't get the basket. And Smith will have the basketball for the Spurs. Washington up by 5. Duncan handing off for Parker for the reverse. Nicely done by San Antonio.
With speed on the baseline. One of those things, usually baseline, you can use out of bounds as an extra defender. He just marked by everybody. With a meep, go on with it.
These sound effects tonight are pristine. On target throughout since the first quarter. Stackhouse gave off to Brown. He wasn't expecting it. Shot clock is at 3. Hughes is going to have to force it from the corner. Jordan tipped it but could not get it back. So Bowen brings it into the offensive zone. Inside the last 3.5 minutes of the third quarter. And what has been a very entertaining ball game tonight at the MCI Center in Washington. Duncan with a spin move, just tossed it up errantly.
don't think he expected Kwame Brown to be there when he caught the ball. And he caught it in rhythm, and that rhythm led him to the middle of the court.
Jordan, before the shot, they'll wave that off. Michael was fouled.
You want to see some speed going baseline. This is in, out, and back in again. No one was going to catch him. And for you youngsters out there, the rim is your friend. Use it as a protector.
The youngster himself, he's just 20 years old. Laettner got a look, but he'll back in instead. Nice fake through the contact. And Laettner's to the line. Well, Christian Laettner has played for 5 NBA teams over 11 years. He's one of the veterans on a very young Washington team, and they have a 3-point lead over San Antonio. Thanks, Kevin. To be in Sydney tonight. Well, we're in Washington, D.C., one of the most beautiful cities in America. Washington leading San Antonio. Coming up next, Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN2. Two explosive offenses colliding in the inaugural Diamond Walnut San Francisco Bowl. Chance Harris and the Air Force Falcons take on Lee Suggs and Virginia Tech. Since 1990, Virginia Tech leading the nation with 85 blocked kicks. That's your tip of the day, Tom.
Beamer ball. Beamer, you think, I don't know, 5 weeks ago before Vodtech lost to Pittsburgh, they were thinking Diamond Walnut?
I don't think Diamond Walnut was on the radar, no.
I don't think it crossed their mind.
But that's where they are tonight, and delighted to be there.
You're not gonna miss.
Yeah.
I'll be as soon as this game's up with, I'm right back to the hotel watching that one. I always enjoy watching the Circus Academies because what they're able to do as far as academics, athletics, and the rigorous schedule they have, it's amazing that they can even make it to a bowl game. So when they get there, it's kind of fun to root for.
Well, the Wizards have certainly cooled off in the second half. They shot over 50%, 52% from the field in the first half. But San Antonio is not burning it up. 2:10 to play in the third. 69-67 the Wizards. And a foul. Laettner got tied up with Bowen.
We kind of figured that shooting percentage was coming down sooner or later. I didn't figure that they were going to shoot 48%. Of course, they proved me wrong and knocked it up to 52%. So I don't think Greg Popovich is worrying too much about the defense over there. And Doug Collins thinking to himself, okay, shooting percentage down a little bit. We got to figure out a way to get back to what we were doing in the first half. And that's trying to get the ball out on the break if you can score early, and if not, penetrations and then kickouts.
How about Bruce Bowen? Pretty deadly from 3-point distance. Better than from 2-point range. Is that amazing or what?
Well, I think when that happens because a lot of times if you play on a team with a dominant inside guy, you get better looks from beyond the arc. If you dribble in too close to the bucket, then you're driving into congestion. So sometimes with certain guys, it doesn't surprise me that their percentage is higher. Now you're going to San Antonio going to do a little zone, a little 3-2 right here. This is where you got to try to hit seams and use the ball fake to move the zone around.
Tied at 69. Which one of these teams wants the last victory of 2002? Steve Kerr into the offensive zone.
I taught him better than at Arizona. He's got to shoot that.
Well, he shot him, and to great effect throughout his NBA career. A higher 3-point shooting accuracy than anybody in the history of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys, along with guys like Glenn Rice, Chris Mullin, Jeff Hornacek, guys that I've been around, that when they miss, when they're wide open and they miss, you're surprised. You're just surprised because they don't miss very often when they get very good looks at the bucket.
Just about 46% for his career from beyond the arc. Rose at the line. With San Antonio in front by 1. A minute 40 to go in the third.
I told him if I played Michael Jordan for 6 years, I'd have shot 46% behind the line.
I like your chances of winding up with as many rings as Kerr did. 3 with Michael, and he also won 1 with San Antonio.
4 in a row.
Yeah.
One of only 2 players ever to win consecutive championships on different teams. And it'd be really cool if I could name the guy's name who was the first one. But since I can't, let's keep moving.
Okay. Stackhouse with it. Blue trying to look inside for Kwame Brown, but he couldn't get free.
You can't just pass it around the outside against the zone. You got to find a way to get it to the middle. Eton Thomas is flashing. That's a shot you do not want against the zone. Stand still, straight up jump shot.
Washington has gone almost 5.5 minutes without hitting a field goal. The fake Smith. All the way through. Duncan with a catch and a hook. And Hughes plucks away the rebound.
Got to go. See if you can get something on the break.
Less than a minute to play in the third quarter. Lou, the crowd wanted him to shoot. Instead, underneath they go for Brown. The fadeaway on Duncan, way too short. It's tipped out of bounds off San Antonio. 44.8 to play in the third. Doug Collins in his second year as the Washington coach. Of course, he coached Michael Jordan in Chicago and Grant Hill in Detroit for 3 seasons. The Wizards inbound. Thomas. There's a foul before the shot attempt.
Well, 2 big bodies right there going at it. Malik Rose and Etan Thomas. Thomas did a nice job of sealing Malik Rose, although I think Malik may have lost a little bit of focus on that inbound, because usually you're not going to get a pass underneath the bucket where Larry Hughes was to right on the block.
Rose with 4 fouls, sending Thomas to the line.
Yeah, I'm on.
Well, he's got the do.
Yes, he does.
Well, since Steven Jackson was ejected, the Spurs have outscored the Wizards 10-4. So the question is, did it ignite them a little bit offensively?
It could be a coincidence.
Rattled in by Thomas. Tie game at 71.
I think you lose, maybe even lose a little bit more defensively with Steven Jackson, because with Steve Smith coming in, he's a guy that can score, although not as athletic now as he used to be. But defensively, that's where you lose a little bit.
Bowen airborne, in and out. Wizards basketball with 24 seconds left. Washington on a long field goal drought. 6 minutes, 15 seconds without one.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised they ran it down a little bit. Just let Lou take Steve Kerr and see if he can create a shot for somebody else.
And of course, there's always Jerry Stackhouse working on Kerr. Got it! That's a 2-pointer. But it puts Washington in front. 73-71. Kerr off the leg of Brown. And a turnover. So the Wizards will get it back. A chance for a fling at the basket here, leading by 2. Less than a second to play in the third. David Robinson will come back in. And Rose steps out. 0.8 on the clock. Lou has to fling it, partially blocked by Kerr. So after 3 quarters here at the MCI Center in Washington, your score is the Washington Wizards 73, the San Antonio Spurs 71. That sets up a dandy of a 4th quarter next. Tom Tolbert and Dave O'Brien with you after 3 quarters. Pretty good ball game here. The Washington Wizards leading San Antonio 73-71.
Although I don't want to get the Irish people upset. I mean, Guinness is from Ireland, so I just couldn't think of it. Boddington, I just couldn't think of another English.
You won't be in any trouble with hanging with a guy named O'Brien. Believe me, you're set. Lou from the top of the key connects. That opens up a 4-point lead for Washington. Tim Duncan with 19 points to lead all scorers. David Robinson with a big rebounding night. He has 9. Stackhouse leading the Wizards with 17. Michael Jordan has 15 points. And another chance to kick out for Kerr, who blocked a shot right at the end of the third.
44th career.
44th.
Absolutely.
Wow. Duncan working. Trying to take advantage of Kwame Brown, and he was fouled.
Well, Steve told me he wanted to hang around and play and then get 50. And then he's going to go ahead and hang him up.
His career goal is 50 blocks.
Call it a career.
A little obscure, but it means something to Steve.
Well, this is going to be interesting. If this game stays 4 or 5 point game down towards the stretch, we talked early in the game about Washington's troubles at the end of games. Can they get good shots? Can they hold on to the ball? And those are situations where, generally you saw Michael Jordan where the ball used to be in his hands. But I think it was 2 games ago, he was the one that had 4 turnovers at the end of the game. So it's going to be one of those things where we'll see. Do you learn from your mistakes? Does Stackhouse get more touches this quarter. And you see last game versus the Wizards, 18 points. They only held it. They held it at 12 field goal attempts, which is pretty impressive. Tonight up at 19 field goal attempts.
He had some foul trouble in the first half of that meeting, so that slowed him up. Yeah, Jerry Stackhouse was pretty vocal after a recent loss to Detroit that he only got one shot off in the fourth quarter. Did not see the ball enough. Stackhouse up high. Russell launches a long one. That's a three.
We saw him do that for many years with the Utah Jazz. And he was always on that weak side with Stockton Malone running that pick and roll. He would spot up. And he's a guy that he's not afraid to take it. And certainly has proved over the course of his career he can hit him.
Byron Russell, 10 years in the NBA and celebrating a birthday today. A steal. Here comes Stackhouse.
Good defensive transition by the Spurs that time.
A little set up a play. Stackhouse running the baseline out of the corner. Matched up against Kerr. He backs out on him. It rattles out. That was in the cylinder.
Yeah, well, that's a matchup you want if you're the Wizards. Big Steve Kerr or Stackhouse. Nice pass.
Duncan got hammered by Thomas. He would not allow the dunk. Fans, be sure to tune in to ESPN tomorrow night as the Raptors take on the Knicks at 7 Eastern. Then Thursday on TNT, it's the Wizards and Bulls at 7:30 Eastern time, followed by the Sixers and the Suns. On Friday on ESPN, it's the Blazers and Celtics at 8 o'clock, followed by the Nuggets and the Sonics. That was a flagrant foul charged to Thomas, so that'll put Duncan to the line. All by himself.
And I think that was bogus. And I think Doug Collins is saying the same thing. It's, you know, he's going up. And look, he tried to get the ball at that point. I mean, yeah, there's contact. Of course there's contact. It's basketball.
But an effort to block it. There was an effort to block it.
And he didn't go after his head. And I don't want to say rightfully so, but maybe just as a serve. You don't get a couple free throws, but you saw the hand extend to go after the ball. And that's what I'm concerned with. Did you go after a body part or the ball? I don't care about the result. Sometimes bodies get tangled, they come down, and it looks bad. But just because it looks bad doesn't give you the right to call a flagrant foul.
There with a quick jump shot, not there for him. So Stackhouse handles the ball. And now Michael Jordan on the bench for Washington getting a rest. 9:52 to play. We are in the fourth quarter. And the Wizards trying to beat one of the top teams in the NBA and do it here at the MCI Center, Michael's new home floor. They lead by 5. Kwame Brown high, guarded by Duncan. Now Lou looking for someone. Splits Duncan and Bowen. It fades away on a high arcing shot. Thomas with a nice save to Stackhouse.
Well, I like him. He's kind of their equivalent of Malik Rose.
Right back to the basket.
And he deserved that one. He's the one that kept it alive. He kept the possession alive. He gets back with a left-handed jump hook for a deuce.
Timeout, San Antonio. They're in a cool drought right now. No field goals in their last 5 minutes. And Washington is on an 11-2 run. Etan Thomas has had a lot to say about it. Yes, he's been physical. He's been brutal at times underneath, but he's given him a lift. Evident here at the MCI Center, where the Washington Wizards have opened up a 7-point lead, matching their game high. Etan Thomas has come up big.
Well, the hustle right there. He's the one that keeps it alive. His great athleticism to get it back out and then just runs back right into play right behind the defense. Nobody found him. Here I am. Hello. And scores a dude. That's the way it should be. Not always going to be that way, but the guy that hustles ends up getting the rewards.
Pretty agile, pretty mobile, 6'9", 260 pounds.
And really big. The shoulders, man. He's a big guy.
Rose spun. It was slapped away. They'll keep the basketball. The Washington Wizards in the front court. Well, they can all drive. They're all of driving age, but they're awfully young, Tom.
Well, yeah, and those are your big guys right there. And Jared Jeffries is a guy who's more of a swing guy, probably a 3-4 who can handle the ball. Juan Dixon right there out of the University of Maryland, injured. Oh, he's looking pretty darn good right there, I might say.
Styling, yeah.
Exactly. It was Jared Jeffries out of Indiana University, a Hoosier. And their guys are going to have to get better during the offseason. Because at this point of the season, you're probably not going to progress a whole lot. You're just going to have to wait and work on your game towards the end of the season. Or not towards the end of the season. I think Malik Rose right there, when he was driving to the bucket, he pump faked. Somebody came down on his finger, and he reached, I don't know if it was wrist or finger or something got jammed, but he was in some serious pain, and they took him out.
It's a good left hand. Duncan at the line. Well, look at that injury, if we can pick it up.
Yeah, right there, the left hand. Yep. I'm not sure. It looks like more the wrist right there. Whereas then you remember on Christmas Day, Bobby Jackson driving to the hole, and Shaq reached down to swat at it, dislocated the finger.
Duncan made both foul shots. He has 23 points to lead all scorers. So San Antonio down 5. Russell drives by Ferry into the paint. He got fouled. So Byron Russell will shoot, the 6'7" product out of Long Beach State. And Malik continues to get work. Looks like the thumb area.
Yeah.
Apparently jamming that thumb.
I always love, too, when you got hurt, you tell the doctor where you got hurt, and they just take it and contort it and go, does that hurt? Well, yeah, it hurts. It would hurt if I didn't. It would hurt if I didn't just get slapped. You were hurting it just by yourself.
Does it hurt when I do this? Well, how about when I do this?
Go, yeah, that hurts, but really it's my other finger that got hurt. Now you just hurt 2 of them.
Right. 81-75, the Wizards.
Michael Jordan get a nice big blow, too.
A long
so
rest.
When he comes back in, he's getting up off the bench right now that he's going to be fully rested.
Duncan right in for 2 quick ones.
They've been able to do that since Tim Duncan's been in San Antonio. They've had a great feel for the high-low with one another. One catches high, the other one flashes in low. They've been able to do that for a few years now.
Michael about to report in. Russell, a 3-pointer. And it's tipped. Russell trying to chase it down. Lou picked it up.
Extra possessions. Tight game, fourth quarter. A lot of times whoever gets those extra possessions is the one that finds himself in the winner's circle.
4-point game. Brown tripped and was fouled. He was hit by David Robinson. Let's get a look at that high-low, which worked very well.
And you can tell when guys work in unison and they've been a part of the team together. It's like boom, catch. And David Robinson doesn't even waste any time. He sees Tim Duncan, has his man pinned. It's a catch, it's a flip, it's an easy deuce.
Michael Jordan into the game. He rested for 7 minutes. So as Tom pointed out, a lengthy rest. Michael with 15 points. .82-77. We saw Malik Rose jamming that hand. And Sal Masekela has a report. Sal?
Well, I saw the trainer working on him, and I went to try and find out what happened. They said it looks like it's nothing broken. They said Malik Rose will be back in a few minutes, so maybe he just bruised it pretty bad.
All right, Sal, thank you. Parker out high for the Spurs. The lead at 6 for the Wizards. Less than 8 minutes to play here. Duncan pulls his way by, went for the dunk. Fouled, and he will shoot 2. Attempting to school Kwame Brown in the lane.
Well, that's what you call taking it strong right there. A lot of times he flips it. A lot of times the hook shot right there. I'm going to see if I can jam this thing. And just came up a little bit short. We got a trip to the free throw line for his efforts.
And Brown picks up his 5th foul, so Leitner is about ready to come in for him. Duncan with 25 points.
It's so funny to look at those numbers, and with him, you just say,
yeah.
26, 9, and 5. But, I mean, those are outstanding numbers, and you get those type of numbers from him every single night. The rebounds and the points may fluctuate a little bit, but he's not one of those guys that gets you 10 and 30 to average 20. He's always right around that 20-point mark.
You're looking at a guy who's putting together 14 consecutive double-doubles.
Yeah. And without batting an eye.
Yeah.
Without batting an eye.
And you're also talking about, on average, 25 points, 15 rebounds in those double-doubles. Some serious production from Duncan, the reigning MVP. Having another terrific year. Stackhouse banks it in, a pretty move.
Great drive. Great drive right there.
6-point lead. Duncan with all 8 points in the quarter for San Antonio. Robinson nearly lost it on a high dribble, but they got it into the corner. Thomas with another rebound. He's had an impressive ball game. 5 rebounds for John Thomas.
Someone's got to step up for the Spurs. It doesn't matter how well you're playing defense. When you're trailing, you still have to have somebody put the ball in the hole. One guy is not going to do it all by himself.
And the 2 7-foot stars in the ball game. What a great save on the tiptoe. And Parker tipped in by Duncan.
Well, that's dangerous right there.
And Duncan got hit. A graceful, athletic move by Tim Duncan. And fouled in the process.
Well, nice play right here. I think that Lou right there, you can see he thought it was going out of bounds, so he stopped. Jordan, and then, yeah, that's dangerous right there. But I think what Doug Collins is mad at is Tyronn Lue just stood there and assumed that Tony Parker was going to let the ball go out of bounds.
Duncan cannot seal the 3-point play. However, he misses the foul shot. He has 29 points. A 4-point lead for the Wizards. Stackhouse faked the 3.
Could be.
Yep, and he forced that shot.
Yeah.
Veteran Smith into the ball game. Still a very dangerous jump shooter. But they work low for Duncan. His hook is short. Well defended by Leitner. Stackhouse robs. There's Jordan from the wing.
Get it before they set up. And that takes everybody running. Everybody running. You get the ball ahead. You find a wide open jump shot. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense to set it up when you have a shot like that and have a guy that can make that shot, Michael Jordan.
He's made enough of them tonight for 17 points. Robinson spins. He made the basket, and Thomas fouled him.
Wow.
So the Admiral, with flashes from the mid-90s, here in his swan song year, he'll try and complete a 3-point play when he goes to the foul line. Michael Jordan, 17 points. His wing jumper gives the Wizards an 87-83 lead. But David Robinson answering on the other end. When we return, he'll try to complete a 3-point play here in Washington. Virginia Tech, 221 rushing yards, but the Air Force 315 and leading the nation in that category. So the big people up front are doing their job for the Air Force. Well, the last time these two played, rebounding was a very big part of the story. Well, here it is tonight. The Spurs and the Wizards very close.
Well, you expect when you're going up against this team, you don't have the talent that you'd like in the backcourt or in the front court, excuse me. You're going to get beat on the boards. Not by 17. You get beat by 17. You're lucky to be in the game. This is the time. Let's see what the Wizards can do as far as executing and holding onto the ball, something they've had trouble with the last few weeks.
San Antonio won the meeting 10 days ago, 92-81.
Now zone again. This is zone where you got to try to hit the seams and try to get inside.
Hughes lets fly and knocks down the jump shot. On the jump pass from Stackhouse, 89-84.
He has been very efficient tonight. Very efficient.
7 assists for Stackhouse. He's moved the ball around real well. San Antonio playing a little short-handed. Steven Jackson was ejected for making contact with official Mark
high
Davis.
low. Oh, there it is.
Duncan for Robinson.
Well, you can see it when you try to front him down low. All they got to do is swing it back up top, and then you're pinned. And then you have no prayer, and that's what they're so good at. They realize when one another has their guy pinned.
Whoops. Thrown into the backcourt. And the violation will give it over to San Antonio. Duncan has 29. David Robinson has 17. And together, they have inched San Antonio to within 3. We are late in the fourth quarter in Washington, D.C. David Robinson squares up on Thomas. 2 great shot blockers there. And he forced that shot. Thomas with some terrific defense.
Yeah.
It'll go the other way.
I don't mind that matchup if you're Washington, unless David Robinson pulls him out to 15 feet. Then that might be trouble. But in close to the bucket, he's not going to bully Eton Thomas. I mean, he couldn't even budge him right there. So I would much rather have him right there, give them to David Robinson if you're Wizards, than get the ball down to Tim Duncan.
The whistle as Robinson was caught up defensively. 4:15 to play in the fourth quarter. Number 2 on David Robinson.
Coach Popovich stole my mock neck. Look at that. Top forward selection.
Jordan slipped a little bit, tried to plant, and he's rejected. Bowen swats it away.
That was good defense by Bruce Bowen right there. Wasn't going to give any ground. Michael Jordan trying to get to his body and then be able to fade away. And you can see right here, he's trying to create that space, and that's just something that right now, sometimes he has trouble doing, is creating that space.
Bowen, a terrific defender on the All-NBA defensive team the last couple of years. Wednesday, spend New Year's Day with ESPN and the NBA at 7 o'clock Eastern. Toronto visits the Knicks. NBA Wednesdays on ESPN, and for more information, log on to ESPN.com. It was that Knicks team that defeated the Spurs 96-95. But now we're heading into a new year. Spin move by Stackhouse. It's deflected out of bounds, and the Wizards will keep it. They have 7 seconds to shoot. So another tight one here for San Antonio after losing that heartbreaker last night to the Knicks in the Garden. Jordan, too strong, and Duncan picks off the board.
The last 3 minutes and 50 seconds of the game, who do you go to if you're the Wizards to get some points? You know where the Spurs are going to get points.
Will it be Stackhouse? Will it be Jordan? Thrown away. Stackhouse says he wants to be that man that in a tight game the Wizards go to in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he shoots 40%. He's a very good player, but he shoots 40%. And you're trying to think, okay, in the half court, what's his best move?
Well, here's one move, and he can't get it. Thomas with a tough rebound.
Great. That is desire, that's want, and that's hustle right there. And that's what he's been doing all night. You may not look at the box score tomorrow and say Eton Thomas played a whale of a game, but if you saw the game, we'd most certainly say it.
10.7 rebounds. Thomas has really been a man against Popovich in San Antonio and against some very big people.
You're talking about want right there. He just ball go up, just working hard, cutting in front of both David Robinson and Tim Duncan to get that one, and then flipping it up left-handed.
Timeout with 3:12 left. And the Wizards have established a 91-86 lead over San Antonio. Thomas has been big. All right, Kevin, the band warming up. We're still playing in Washington, and a look at the game track. Here inside the MCI Center, San Antonio shooting 42%. We mentioned Steven Jackson was ejected. Washington at 48%, and the bench has really contributed.
The bench has done a great job. Eton Thomas has done a great job. But 48% is the story. 48% is the story from a team that shoots 44% coming into this game on the year. And the San Antonio Spurs limiting teams at 41% to be able to shoot 48%. That's something that I wouldn't have guessed.
The Spurs with 2, the Wizards with 2 as far as timeouts are concerned. Each with 1 20-second timeout as well. Leitner tried the dipsy-do. And that's an offensive foul against Christian Leitner. A slight grin by Doug Collins. Washington by 5, San Antonio ball. Parker lost it. It'll go back to Washington.
But it's tough to run a pick and roll that close to the corner and go to the corner. So all they got to do is take one step and you're trapped. And right there, Christian Leitner did a nice job poking that ball away, and then on Parker.
Stackhouse tried his move into the paint, and he was fouled. By the way, 17 turnovers now for San Antonio. 2:36 to play here in the fourth quarter. San Antonio trying to pick up their 20th win of the season. They're now 19-12. They're in second place in the Midwest. And in the midst of a long stretch of games on the road, 11 out of 13 for David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and the Spurs away from Texas.
You know, Washington threatening 100 points.
They're pushing it, yeah. This kind of offensive explosion not expected. Stackhouse has 21 points. Lou treating an eye wound right above the eye.
You know, we talked about this earlier, that they need to get the game up into the 90s, 95, close to 100 points. They didn't want to let San Antonio grind it out. They've been doing that.
Duncan double team, nearly tied up, threw it away into the backcourt, and turned over. Great defense on Duncan.
Well, those are some physical double teams down there. I mean, Tim Duncan's taking a pounding down there. I'm sure on that one, I'd say he'd be a little stronger with the ball. Of course, he might just be shaking his head going, yeah, come on. You see right there, I mean, he getting bumped into. Golly. Stack almost dislocated his shoulder, ripping his arm in there. And I think that's been going on all night. That's why you see Tim Duncan look dismayed down on the block.
But he's been forced into 7 turnovers. Hughes with a follow-away. That was on a 3-point effort. He got fouled.
Boy, that's just a mistake by Tony Parker right there.
Well, these are the kind of games that the Wizards are talking about. They need to be able to play well in the last minute of close games. The last 4 or 5 minutes, they've let so many wins slip away. Parker fouls out. He winds up with 9 points and 4 assists. This foul sending Hughes to the line, but remember, he was fouled while attempting a 3-pointer. Kerr coming in.
Another theory I have, not the look down 3-point, but does anybody ever make 3 free throws in a row when they get 3 free throws? See if Larry Hughes can do it right here. Generally speaking, you get 2 out of 3. There's 2, and all net.
All net, that's right.
I'm going to say the third one looks promising. It's just something you're not used to, standing up there and taking 3 straight shots. Saying 2, but not 3. And you get all excited and everything. Maybe not.
Silky smooth, 19 points for him. Washington very, very good at the line. 25 out of 29 made foul shots.
With Parker fouling out, Steve Kerr's going to have to come in and look for him, or the other Bruce Bowen, somebody to get maybe a 3-point shot off. With 2 minutes left, minute 45 left, down 8 points. You don't have to jack a 3, but you better start looking in that direction.
Stackhouse stumbled, lost it. It's on the deck. Smith calls a timeout. San Antonio ball, timeout. 1:39 left. And it's 96-88. This one's been brewing for a good finish all night long here in Washington, D.C. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Certainly hope you've enjoyed the game as much as Dave and I have here on this New Year's Eve, 96-88. Both teams with a timeout, 20. Wizards have 2 full, Spurs 1 full timeout. And the story tonight is the defense is what it is. And the Spurs holding teams down 41% teams for the year and 88 points allowed on the season. Tonight, 96 and 48. And a lot of that is being able to get at the court and get off shots before the defense is set. And quite frankly, a lot of it is just making jump shots.
Duncan out for Smith. Straight away, buries a 3. And that tightens it up.
You got to know who your 3-point shooters are if you're watching on the defensive end. Steve Smith and Steve Kerr, the 2 guys you do not want to leave open. If at all possible, Bruce Bowen's the guy you want to make the 3-point shot.
Smith has hit so many of those over a long NBA career. It's fascinating watching him in pregame drills. Leitner from the corner. Got it. I think he got a side of that backboard as well. And it glanced in. That's why the smile. But watching Smith in pregame drills, he will not leave the floor until he hits one from about 25 feet. And he's hit a lot of them. Leitner feeds out for Jordan. A 7-point lead. And the foul with 48.2 seconds left.
The fans let him know it. Very appreciative.
They're on their feet in the MCI Center. Washington playing very well down the stretch this time.
Yeah, they've turned the ball over only a couple times in the last 5 minutes. And defensively, they played extremely well. Now it's just about rebounding and hitting free throws. If you do those two things, then you're going to win this basketball game.
They've hit a ton of free throws. Larry Hughes gets the roll on the first one. And looking to hit the 100-point mark. A lot of iron, but he got it to go. And they have made 28 out of 32 from the stripe. 191. Well, the Wizards got some electric moments out of Michael Jordan in the first half, but the youngsters like Etan Thomas and Larry Hughes have really played terrifically well in the second half, and they've been even a bigger story than Michael.
Oh, yeah, they played extremely well, giving them the energy that they need. And right now, if you're Washington, you don't give up the three-point shot. I know what they're going to try to do. They're trying to sucker you into going down and doubling Tim Duncan or driving and collapsing. You stay on the three-point shooters. If you can make your free throws, you just trade 2 for 2. You're not going to let them get an extra point every time they go down the court.
Well, to Doug Collins and the young Washington Wizards, a win like this to close out the old year and move into the new year in an electric environment like this, the fans on their feet and screaming, could be key for them heading into 2003.
And not just a win against a plus 500 team. This is a team that's 3-15 against teams that are over 500. So you get a win and you feel good because you beat one of the better teams in the NBA.
Duncan hit by Stackhouse, stopping the clock at 46 seconds left. Stackhouse with 21 points. Larry Hughes also with 21. And Duncan leading all scorers with 29.
Well, if at all possible, you'd like to avoid them getting to the free throw line. There, you can get points, and the clock stands still.
We'll get you right out to the bowl game in San Francisco as soon as we wrap it up here in Washington, D.C. Etan Thomas leaving the floor after a terrific ball game. Not overwhelming statistically, 10 points and 7 rebounds, but he gave the Wizards marvelous minutes. 25 minutes, a season high for him.
Look out.
He got it. Smith got the three-pointer. 195 and a quick foul with 39.6 seconds. So still time here for San Antonio.
Steve Smith, I tell you what, he can just flat out shoot it when he gets those feet set.
He's ready to come back in. They need him for some more.
And still, at this point, just hit your free throws, no fouls, and get back and play solid. You want to play again. You want to hedge. Oh, well, there goes to make the free throw part. But you want to hedge against the three-pointers. You're not giving up layups at this point. You're not letting them score easy post-up moves. You're just not going to let them kick it back out for a wide-open three-pointer. They're going to make a three-pointer. You're going to have the guy right in the face.
Steve Kerr also in the game, so along with Smith, two of the best three-point shooters the game has seen. For San Antonio, Stackhouse made 1 out of 2. He has 22 points.
High pick and roll right there. Someone's going to step out.
Kerr leans in. That three-pointer no good. Duncan came in for the rebound. The bounce to Kerr. Fires it up awkwardly. Banked it, and it didn't roll in. Oh, down hard goes Stackhouse over the baseline. 22.4 seconds left in the contest. Kerr just had to fling it up there under pressure, and it almost rolled in off the backboard.
Well, I think in that situation, sometimes you get a little too ahead of yourself in regards to the clock. I mean, you don't have to shoot a leaping leaner at the end of the game right there. I know you want to get one off, and you're only 6 points down, which is a three-pointer, a steal, and another three-pointer. So you just want to make sure you get a good shot right there. I know Steve was trying to lean in. He thought maybe he had Larry Hughes on his back, throw it up there and hope for the prayer, and almost got it answered.
Stackhouse, an 87% foul shooter. And tonight he's lived up to that. He's 9 for 10 at the line. Russell checking in.
Now that they got the 7th point, now you have to shoot 3-point shots. Now you have 3 possessions to take the lead in this game.
103-95, timeout San Antonio. They're playing the last 22.4 seconds. So the Wizards trying to lock up what would be a very impressive win over Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. Well, it is 3-point time for the San Antonio Spurs. They trail the Wizards 103-95 with 22.4 seconds left here in Washington, D.C. Tom Tolbert, Dave O'Brien, Sam Masakela with you. And the bowl game is coming up in just a moment. We'll get you right out there to San Francisco. Air Force, incidentally, has taken a 7-0 lead.
I'm going to guess that was a lot of running.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of running in that game.
Although their team likes to block punts, too. There's got to be at least one block punt in that game. That's what I'm betting. Betting between Fisher DeBerry and Frank Beamer are going to get one punt block in that game. Let's see if we can get a 3-point shot. Then this has got to be a situation where you try to go in quickly and then back outside. Or if you get something, that's a tough shot right there.
Smith off the pump fake. Duncan lays it in off the glass. Going up over Leitner. 14.4 seconds left.
If you're Washington, you'll deal with that. No biggie.
6-point game. Stackhouse double team. He got fouled. They wanted to jump, but Stackhouse got hit. And the wrong man to foul if you're San Antonio. He is 10 out of 11 tonight and one of the better foul shooters in the NBA. In the quarter, they've made a bunch. 13 out of 15 in the 4th quarter alone. So the Wizards had the lead at halftime, 52-50. It was looking at that time like a 100-point game, and they reached it.
With style. Busted open for a 31-point quarter and counting.
Doug Collins on his bench imploring his troops no fouls. And so the Admiral, David Robinson, has formed such a tremendous combination with Duncan over the years. Looks like they will fall here tonight in the nation's capital on New Year's Eve. Duncan hits a 3-pointer. Doing a little of everything here down the stretch, but it will not be enough, it would appear. Although it is close to within 4. A little grin there from Michael. He and Kerr, the old teammates together with the Chicago Bulls, where as teammates they won 3 world championships. Both teams getting to 100, but Michael and Steve Kerr, old buddies, sharing a laugh.
Hey, Tim Duncan with a 3-point shot. Go figure that one. Hey, somebody tell these guys almost drinking time, okay? Like, get out there, get an hour left before the New Year's. I'm gonna get my hat. You get your hat?
Didn't get a hat.
Didn't get the party favors?
Didn't get anything tonight. And it would appear it is just about midnight for the San Antonio Spurs as Hughes hits the foul shot. Kerr at the buzzer, got it. That's a 3-pointer to count, but not enough. As the Wizards hang on for a 105-103 victory over San Antonio. Stay tuned for the Diamond Walnut San Francisco Bowl between Air Force and Virginia Tech coming up next. It is underway.